Okay, so I just got back from work, hence why I'm wearing this lovely Harris Teeter shirt. But I usually, it'll be 5 soon, so and that's usually when if I'm not going anywhere or doing anything else, and that's usually when I will get a shower and just go ahead and get on my PJs. So I'm just gonna stay like this. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna eat anything. Well, I might eat something, but I mean. But anyway, I decided to do a review video of the book I just finished. It's gonna be one of the first times where my review is not like me gushing about how much I love this book. It's actually going to be a little bit more critical of it. Although I don't promise I can't promise that I'm going to be very good at it, but this particular book I didn't rate it. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads, and it wasn't one of my favorite books. And dare I say it, I know a lot of people are probably not going to be happy with this, because I know a lot of people love the book, but it might have something, my lack of love for this book might have something to do with the fact that I am 28 years old, and maybe it's too immature for me. Not that, I still read YA, and that's mostly for teenagers, and this book is a YA read. And I still read, and I've gotten more open to middle grade books, and I've read a couple of middle grade series, but this particular one did not do well for me. And that is, unfortunate. I'm sorry to have to say this. The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. So, I went to the library last week to return my, East of Eden and The Secret History, because as I ended up buying them, actually, it was taking me so long to read, and that's why I try to avoid books like those, the big tome books from the library, because it will take me forever to read. And I know you can recheck them out, but I just don't want to keep them forever. So when I went there to return those, I got 4 books, and obviously it was, like I said, it was last week, so I was trying to find some spookier reads, and I did get a few spooky reads, like The Werewolf of Bamberge, and The Madman's Daughter, I think. And sorry about that, my dog is looking out the window and barking. And let's see, Miss Houdini. That one's not as scary, but it's a little like eerie and spooky, probably, because I think from what I read in the summary, it said that rascal. Sorry. It did say that Harry Houdini dies, and she might be being in contact with his spirit. So but then I decided to get this one, because I spotted it, got really excited. I got two YA books. This is one I was hearing a lot about, and I kind of like the idea of this girl. She's a plus-size girl, and she has anxiety, so I kind of like that, and that kind of caught my attention, because you don't see a lot of, because I hate to say it, but it is, as much as I love reading YA, it's hard for me to argue with the people who don't like YA and say that it is very cliche and tropey, which that's one of my criticisms of this book, actually, that it is a bit tropey and cliche, the plot and everything. And one of the tropes / cliches of YA books is the girl is pretty and really skinny, and I know a lot of people complain about the whole idea of the girl complaining about her looks and how she's so ugly and average looking, but actually the way she's described, she's actually really pretty. In this book, the girl she's a plus size girl, so, and some people unfortunately don't find bigger girls as attractive. Now, I personally have no problem with, if I were into girls, I have some best friends who are plus size that I would date, because, they carry themselves well, and they're very confident, and they're both really pretty. Both are really beautiful, I feel like. But I'm not into girls, so So I like that about this book. I like that it was relatable in that way. And I like that it was relatable in the fact that she had anxiety, which that's something I definitely can relate to. I can't relate to the plus size thing because I'm pretty skinny, but I can relate to the anxiety and, worrying about what people think of you and feeling like you have to try really hard to impress other people. And that's definitely something that I can relate to. But the thing, actually, as I was reading the book, though, I found myself really frustrated with the main character, Molly. Well, before I continue, I'm sorry, let me do a little summary if you haven't read it. This is a book about this girl, Molly, who, like I said, she's plus size, she has anxiety, and she's never dated or kissed a boy. She's always had crushes. She has, I think 27 crushes, 27 or 26. And her twin sister, Cassie, wants that to stop. Doesn't want her to stop liking boys, but she wants her to actually go out with a boy and kiss a boy and, hook up with one. Not just have a crush on him. Basically, she wants her to act on her attraction to a guy, to a boy. But it's, of course, being the type of person who since Molly has anxiety, it's harder for her, and she worries, she overthinks things constantly, and she's very nervous about approaching boys. I mean, of course, we all get nervous when we like someone, but with her issues, it's, overkill, and, so, Cassie ends up getting a girlfriend, her first real girlfriend, because Cassie has, she dates and hooks up with other girls, and Cassie is gay, she's a lesbian, and so she gets her first girlfriend, who actually is introduced to her by Molly, her sister, and, Molly, her first girlfriend, Mina, is the girl's name. She has a male friend, who's kind of cute, who's cute, he's artsy, he likes music, stuff like that. She tries to fix they decide he's gonna be the one we're gonna fix Molly up with. But then there's also, Molly starts her first job at, one of those convenience stores, I think, and, I think it's Big Lots. If you ever heard of Big Lots. And there's this guy there, Reed, who's really cute. He's red, I want to say he's a redhead. I don't think he's a redhead though. He might be a brunette. In glasses, and he's into Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. So he's kind of what's defined as the nerdy guy. And right away, him and Molly click. She's not nervous around him. It's easy for her to talk to him. And they joke around and can have fun and stuff, and there's definitely this little attraction there. They kind of start to like each other. But of course, it's from Molly's perspective, so you don't know right away that Reed likes Molly until later in the story. But so Molly's kind of caught between these two guys. You got Will, the other guy who's really cute, artsy music guy. He's one of Mina's friends. And Molly kind of gets insecure because you know how it happens when your sibling starts getting into relationships. You kind of, or your best friend even, your own bond starts to fade. It's not as prominent anymore to them. So Molly's worrying about that, and she decides that maybe she should date Will so that the four of them could still be. She and Cassie could be really close, still be really close, but she can't help but she's having trouble because she likes to read as well, and she's trying to decide which one she wants more, and it's a cute little story, and on top of that, she's also helping her too. Her and Cassie have two moms. I think they're adopted, or they were sperm donor babies. and their two moms. It's modern. It's around the present, of course, because it's contemporary. So it's around the time that same-sex marriage is made legal everywhere in the U.S. or almost everywhere, I think. So their two moms decide it's time they wanted to get married and make it official. So on top of her, having her first set of boy troubles, and then having this like relationship that's starting to fall apart with her sister, she's also helping her and Cassie are also helping their moms get their wedding ready, because Molly's actually one of her little personality traits is that she is very crafty. Okay, so that was not the best summary ever. I was kind of probably giving you guys unnecessary information. I'm really bad at giving summaries. I need to have time to think about it and write it out when I'm giving summaries. So anyway, like I said, it's a cute story. I was kind of entertained by it. I definitely kept reading it. I didn't, because like the only time I would ever DNF a book is if I really absolutely hated it. So even though I didn't love this book, I liked it enough that I wanted to keep reading and find out what happens. It's like how when you watch like a cheesy Lifetime movie or watch a reality show and you know it's stupid and you know it's ridiculous and it's pointless, and why would you want to waste your time with that? But then you can't help it. You have to keep watching it. You end up being glued to the screen or to the page in this case. And it just, maybe that's just me, and but so I had to see what happens. It's like I said, and it kind of reminded me, and it also kind of reminded me of a Lifetime movie. Like a lot of contemporaries, when I hear the description, they kind of remind me of Lifetime movies. The like this crazy situation that these teenagers are caught in, it's most of the time it's like a romantic relationship, or the situation is they're becoming like little adults, and they're not little, but like coming of age kind of stories. Like I'm just not a huge fan of contemporary, basically. YA contemporary. I will read adult contemporary dramas like like I have Big Little Lies. I will read that soon. That kind of stuff I like. Like I like the stuff about with adults, and that probably harks to the fact that I am an adult. So but I still read YA. So, like I said, this was cute and everything, and it was a quick read. That's the other reason why I will read these books, because sometimes, or at least just read the YA genre, because it's a quick read, even though, even if it has like 50 chapters, that might still take me a week or two, but I can breeze through it really quickly. And that's definitely one of the perks about YA. And I saw this at the library, so I had decided to check it out to see if I would genuinely like it. And, I was entertained by it, but it is not a book that I would buy. No, like I said, it was very cliche and tropey. I did not like, and it had a lot of silly. I even told my best friend, one of my best friends about this book. One of the ones that's kind of on the plus side, thinking, oh, that would, she would be like, oh, that would be cool and everything, and. And I agreed with her and admit that it was cliche. I was like, yes, it is very cliche and tropey. But, she made a good point that not every plus-size girl has a problem getting a date, getting a boyfriend. It's all about how you carry yourself and how confident you are. It's not about your physical appearance, because a girl like that, as long as they are confident, yeah, there are a lot of shallow guys in the world, and there are a lot of shallow girls. But if you carry yourself well, then you can, and show confidence and pride in yourself and your physical appearance, you can be plus size and still get the attention of guys. And not necessarily, and I don't mean necessarily in a negative way. I'm not talking about like in a negative way where like guys are like bigger girls for some perverted reason. and, but to be fair, like I said, one of the main conflicts in this story is that Molly does have anxiety. And that one of the positives is that I could relate to that on some level. Of course, I get anxiety over different things. Now, over, when I was looking for a job, I was worried about that, and I was worried about the interview, and I couldn't, the whole application process, and that's for the longest time, I couldn't even get past the application process. And just doing everything right at my job, and, and just, that's the stuff that I would get anxiety over. I mean, I do get anxiety over social situations, but it's not my main focus anymore. So I can relate to an anxiety thing, but I get anxiety about different things. I also can relate to how she has this really close bond with her sister. Me and my sister were not my sister and I were not twins, but we were always really close, and then she started, and then, and then she met her husband, and we've since drifted apart because, it's inevitable. I hate to say it, but it is. So I can kind of relate to Molly's feelings about that and her relationship with her sister, but that's one of the negatives I didn't like is her sister. I hated her sister. I mean, I didn't hate her. That's a bit strong. I disliked her sister. The character of Cassie was just incredibly annoying, and I'm sorry if you like her, but I kind of personally thought she was a little bit of a selfish brat, and she was very only thinking about herself. I mean, well, I don't think she was only thinking about herself, especially now that I know the reason why she was all like trying to fix Molly up with Will and everything, but at the same time, I feel like she was still, to me, was still a selfish brat, and I mean, I get that she's a teenage girl, and Mina was her first serious girlfriend, and she was falling in love with her and everything. I get that, but part of me is like, I wanted to be like, I mean, girl, I wanted to shake her because she kept like, there was one scene where Molly felt really uncomfortable. It was like this party and everything. There were a few scenes like that where her sister was pushing her to come with them and hang out with them, but she was in a situation where she was not comfortable. He's like, there was one where she was at a club where there was drinking involved, and then there was a party, and these girls are 17. She was at a party where, she was also at a party where there was drinking involved, and she was just not very comfortable. She did not like her, and she felt forced to drink because everybody else was drinking. She was like surrounded by, and she's an impressionable, naive young girl with anxiety issues. So of course she's gonna drink, even though she probably knows the back of her mind that she shouldn't, because there's gonna be consequences to that. And I feel like Cassie was pressuring her unconsciously, not necessarily to drink, but to just being cool with the situation and all that, and date Will and everything. She did have good intentions, though, I'll give her that. But her approach and her constantly pushing Molly was a bit too much. I mean, you should push, but not that much. And there was one scene at a party where, where Molly was like, I want to leave. I don't, I'm going to go and, well, okay, here's what happened in the scene that, Cassie has been making out with Mina and stuff, and she got drunk and everything. She's a little drunk. And she approaches Molly and Anima, and offers Molly Mina's Lexus. And is like, you can take the Lexus because I can, she does start to realize that Molly's a little uncomfortable. And she's like, you can take the Lexus or Will can take you home. And I think that kind of really hurt Molly, and they got into a fight, and she was telling Cassie that she felt like Molly was, Cassie was replacing her with Mina. And that she was kind of pissed that Cassie assumed that she could get drunk and chill with Mina, and that Molly would be like, Molly is the reliable one. Like, it kind of reminds me of on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there's an episode with the character of Willow Rosenberg, Buffy's one of her best friends. And there's one episode where she feels like really like people are automatically assuming she'll do things, and they call her reliable. And she hates being considered reliable. and that's I think how Molly felt. It was like not necessarily not wanting to be reliable, but the fact that Cassie just assumed, it kind of really just really hurt her feelings and pissed her off. And then Cassie basically turns it around and acts like Molly's the one with the problem. Molly's being too sensitive, and she should be more understanding that, and like, you shouldn't make me feel bad just because, you aren't comfortable and stuff like that. That pissed me off. I just didn't like Cassie as character. She was a good character in the sense that she was well written, and she was interesting, and she probably was relatable to a lot of teenage girls, but I just didn't like her. It was more of a personal preference. Will turned out to be actually a decent guy. At first, I didn't like him. I don't like the fact that he drinks underage. That kind of bugged me, but there were consequences for that. And he turned out to actually be a decent character, a decent guy. And I really like reading, and that's probably because I'm kind of a nerd myself. And I also like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings. And I was definitely rooting for him and be like, Molly, choose him. Don't choose Will. You have no connection with Will. You are just only dating Will because he's cute and somewhat decent, somewhat nice, and cool looking, and that you feel like you have to date him because your sister wants you to date him, and he's Mina's best friend, who happens to be your sister's girlfriend. And I was kind of worried that she would, okay, spoiler alert, I was actually worried that she would choose Will just because of that, and to me that would ruin it for me. But she chose Reed instead, spoiler alert, sorry. So this book actually had this in there, I think. I think this was kind of a, I think this was put in there because, gay rights and gay marriage is made legal. I think this kind of, how the rainbow thing that they have for that. This was actually in the book. And they had diversity, which was cool. They had a little bit of diversity in the book, which I think is important. It's definitely an issue that matters to a lot of people and a lot of YA young adult readers. So I didn't like the character of Cassie. I did not like the writing style. I'm just not a big fan of this writing style. It's good for a quick read, the writing style here, but it is too simple for me. I want complex, or at least somewhere between older adult books and YA, where it's complex, but it's not dry. It's not super dry writing, because unfortunately a lot of adult fiction is very dry at times. Not adult classics. Let me clarify that. A lot of classics, at least to me, tend to be dry because it was written a long time ago, and more words, the more you got paid. So the writing style I did not like. It was too simple, straight to the point. It was kind of eh. And like I said, it was very cliche and tropey, I feel like. And this is basically why I don't read YA contemporary. Maybe I'm probably wrong, and there probably are a lot of well-written YAs out there. And, I did like Ruta Sepetys' 2 novels, The Salt to the Sea and Between Shades of Grey. I really enjoyed those. And like I said, there are a couple of middle grade series I like The School of Good for Good and Evil, the Ascendance trilogy. I like those. But again, these are books I will probably just borrow from the library. But if all YA contemporaries like this, then I don't know. I might read it, just borrow it from the library just for fun, but it's just not my thing because for the reasons I said a lot of times, I feel like it sounds like it's, and I'm saying sounds because I haven't read a lot. I haven't really read much YA contemporary, but just by the sound of it, it sounds very cliche and tropey, and the plots are cute and everything, but they're just not they're not very in-depth. And I do want a little in-depth in my reading. And I do read that for pleasure. I know some people would probably be like, don't read books that in depth for pleasure, but I do. Well, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Probably, yeah, I think I'm wrong. I'm sure there are a lot of. Okay, I'm just basically rambling now. So those are my thoughts on this one. And luckily I was able to do this before I returned it. Let's see, what's today? Okay, well, I don't have to do it today yet. I don't know, maybe. Okay, well, that is my review of The Upside of Unrequited. I'm sorry I didn't like it, I didn't hate it, but I wasn't, like, in love with the book or anything. But I'm not saying you shouldn't check it out, because there are a lot of people who do love it, and you might be one of those people. So I hope you enjoyed my review, and I hope no one gets mad at me about my review of this book, and how, get mad at me at the fact that I'm just not a huge fan of it. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye!